Hi guys, it is Michelle and I'm here today to discuss two books that I finished recently. I read them in tandem. They are both collections of short stories that are centered around the time of the Iraq conflicts. And the first one is The Corpse Exhibition and Other Stories of Iraq by Hassan Blassim. He was born in Iraq in 1973. In 1998, he moved to a different area of that country, assumed a different name, and started filming instead of writing, kind of in hiding. But in the mid-2000s, ended up moving to Finland as one of the films that he recorded came under scrutiny from the government. So this is a collection of stories that he wrote. Along with that, I read Redeployment by Phil Clay. This is a collection of short stories during that same conflict from the perspective of U.S. Marine Corps service people. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that in a little while. The reason I wanted to read these, my father was in the United States Air Force for 23 years, and when I was a senior in high school, some of our servicemen from our base were involved in the Iraq conflict. In fact, the first B-52 bomber that went down, apparently because of mechanical issues, it crashed into the ocean. One of the co-pilot was from our base, maybe some other the crewmen, I don't know, but I knew him personally. I babysat his little boy on many occasions, and so it was close to home. It had a lot of things that happened, had a lot of resonance with me because I knew it was affecting people that, were part of my life. I still never got a good idea of what the conflict was like. Even during the times when we had embedded reporters, I thought, okay, we're going to really know what kinds of things go on. Well, that wasn't so much the case. So when I found out about the book Redeployment, I was very excited to read it and hope to get a glimpse finally of what it was like for our servicemen to be over there. So first I want to talk about the Corpse Exhibition. I read this hoping to gain some insight into what the Iraqis thought about the conflict. What were their feelings towards the United States and other NATO nations being in their country and doing what we were doing. Unfortunately, this book wasn't able to deliver that. What it was able to do was kind of reveal how alien the Iraqi culture seems to someone who has a United States upbringing. It was very good at that. This book is pretty gruesome. If you can't take gore, definitely don't want to pick this one up. It does contain some magical realism, and I saw where in an interview the author was asked about it, and he said he would label it more as nightmarish realism, and I would have to agree with that. Like I said, very gruesome aspects of some of these. As far as the writing style, I did enjoy it. It was pretty descriptive. He, I would say, is a writer first and telling about the war second. Another thing he did a good job of was showing kind of the limited opportunities that the Iraqis had. What I still don't know after reading this is how long Iraqi society had been in this state. If it's always just kind of like this, or if this was recent developments due to the dictatorship was there. Those are things I did not end up gleaming from this book. All right, so then on to Redeployment. All of the stories in here are written in first person, all from the perspective of someone related to the United States Marine Corps. Sometimes it is a rookie, sometimes it's a veteran, sometimes it's someone who's recently coming home, or who's recently come home. Sometimes it is from a bean counter perspective. Sometimes it is from the perspective of someone who's trying to help with the rebuilding effort there in Iraq. So lots of different perspectives. One important thing that I think Phil Clay does is he does not baby us as the reader. This is not a book to glorify military conflict. He does not always shed the characters and situations and choices in here in a positive light, but he wasn't afraid to just kind of tell it like it is. I've always respected servicemen and veterans but this gave me a whole new visceral understanding and an even deeper appreciation for them. And somehow now just saying thank you for your service doesn't seem like to even scratch the surface of expressing my respect for them. I was a little bit taken aback by the attitudes of some of the Marines sometimes towards the Iraqi people. I don't agree with that attitude. However, having read the corpse exhibition, I can see how it wouldn't take a whole lot to fall into that attitude, especially if you were there experiencing what they had experienced. So it does not justify it, but I can see how it could cause it. All right, so in the end, I ended up giving the corpse exhibition 4 stars, and I gave Redeployment 5 stars. I truly think that anyone who has a say in whether or not we send troops into a foreign country should have to read this before they send them, just to gain an understanding of the decision that they are making for people. These books will stick with me for a while, especially Redeployment. In fact, I can already see how they impacted my view on a story very recently in the news within the last couple of days. There was a serviceman, I believe he's based in North Carolina, and he went to the mall in his flak jacket and had his AR-15 rifle with him. And he didn't mean to cause any harm. Of course, the people that were shopping at that Macy's store did not know that, and there was panic, and the police were called, and he was taken to his commanding officer to discuss it. But before, my immediate reaction was, yeah, right, like he didn't mean any harm. He knew exactly what he was doing, blah, blah, blah. But if he's recently come back after reading Redeployment, I can see how maybe that could happen, and maybe that wouldn't feel off to him. Now, I do not know whether or not he had recently come back from deployment or anything like that, but I can tell that these stories are going to stick with me. I can tell they have affected my views long term, and I love that in books, so of course, I really appreciate this reading experience. So, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, especially comment. Thank you so much for watching, and happy reading.